The fourth night in our series, Way to Full Potential, and positive emotion, the riches of gratitude. So this is due to be a Metta Bhavana night, but we're not actually going to be doing the Metta Bhavana tonight. We're going to be doing a practice in a similar spirit, of a similar flavour, which is a gratitude practice. So tonight's very much exploring gratitude. Subject very dear to my heart, actually, though I haven't given it much thought for a while, much attention for a while. That makes me sound terribly ungrateful. I don't think I'm being that. So gratitude it's a very wholesome quality. I think I said in the little ad, I don't know how many of you have seen the little ad I put out. It's both really ordinary, isn't it? In a sense, gratitude. We say thank you, hopefully quite a bit, and often we mean it. Sometimes we really mean it. So it's a really ordinary quality, but it's also really extraordinary when we really start to reflect on it, and if we really practice it more intensely or intensively. And for most people, most of the time, it's relatively easy to get it, with a little bit of effort, to get in touch with a sense of gratitude for something, that is. And gratitude is actually one way in to metta. In fact, that's how I first came across it in a Buddhist context, was on a retreat where someone was teaching 8 gateways into metta. And all I remember is that one of them was gratitude. And it does work. It can be a good way of starting a Metta Bhavana practice, or just of getting more in touch with metta at any time. And it's something that's been studied in modern psychology, and it's known to be a really beneficial quality, and something which, if people have practiced it over a period, even quite a short period of time, has had very measurable effects, quite remarkable even sometimes, the effects of making a practice of gratitude. I'll come back to that. If you want to know more about that, afterwards you could look up Wikipedia on gratitude. So one of the key things about gratitude, and this is one of the reasons why it's really worthwhile, is it's a kind of shift in one's mindset. Now, often, of course, when we experience gratitude, it's just instinctive. We're given something, we like it, and we just say thanks. Yeah. Of course, sometimes we just say thanks because we feel we ought to. That's not what I'm talking about. Though sometimes that's a good thing anyway. But kind of. Shift in mindset. So it's so easy. I do this a lot myself, to focus on what's wrong, what we don't like, and what we feel we're lacking in our lives. So our teacher Samudraghosha calls this a poverty mentality. We're focusing on the poorness of our lives, not necessarily sort of in terms of material wealth, but that kind of attitude of what's wrong, what's lacking, what's missing, what we don't like. In recent months, I've been somewhat frustrated, disappointed by not being able to meet up with friends face to face. And actually, it is possible now, one-to-one, with certain precautions, of course. But there was a long period where that wasn't possible, and it's easy to sort of be a bit sort of focusing on that and making a problem out of that. Okay, it can be a genuine problem, of course. But something that's more of a habit of mine is, I've got enough time today. It's like, I've got too much on. And there can be truth in that, but it can be a really unhelpful state of mind, that attitude, especially when actually almost everything I'm doing for a reason that really matters to me. So I can focus on that. We might get into not being able to afford things, and sort of make that can be a story of, I haven't got enough. This isn't enough. And then there's technology, isn't there? And this is something that can really get me, is like frustration by when my laptop's really slow. I can really sort of, it should be working better. This is rubbish, and why isn't it working? And getting caught up in that. So it's very easy for us to get caught up in what, from our very limited, often point of view, we think isn't good enough, or we want more. It's something that we haven't got, we want, we can't have, or isn't working, whatever. And how wonderful if we can shift that attitude more to the opposite of a wealth mentality, if you like, which is a state of abundance, actually. It's actually taking in and appreciation is a very connected quality, appreciating what we do have. Yeah? I've got a laptop. Okay, it can be a bit slow sometimes, but it works on the whole. And with it, I can access the internet. I can go on Zoom, and I can have contact with my friends. How amazing is that? Even in the fullest lockdown, I could have contact with my friends because I had technology. The internet exists. So, very simple example. So you can start to see probably what gets in the way often of gratitude. And there are different things, but probably for most of us, the biggest one is, other than just not thinking about it, well, it's related to not thinking about it, actually, taking things for granted. Yeah? It's so easy to do that. We kind of forget that things could be otherwise. So a good example of this can be meals. Yeah. So I have the fortune, I've chosen to live in a Buddhist community close to the centre here, and we share cooking. And 5 or 6 times a week, I just go down to dining room, and there's a meal that someone's made, and it's always at least okay, and most of the time it's really nice. And it's so easy to take that for granted and not think about, oh gosh, someone's made this. I didn't have to. I mean, yeah, okay, we got a sort of an arrangement, but they've honoured that arrangement. They've cooked, and they've put effort into it and creativity. Generally, it's not just sort of like the simplest thing I could possibly pull together. So I can, if I just recognise that, dinner becomes a more enjoyable, meaningful experience. My connection with the person who's cooked is more with everyone, actually. When I made the ad for tonight's session, I rearranged my room. I had this armchair, which I put in a different place from normal, and I've kept it there, actually. And when I'm sitting there, I'm looking at a wardrobe. And it's a wardrobe which I've had for the whole time I've lived in the house, just about 10 years. And it's a wooden wardrobe. It's quite ordinary. It's not particularly large. It's the right size for the smallish room. And I normally don't give it a moment's thought. I'm not sure I've ever actually appreciated it. It's actually really quite a lovely wardrobe because it's wooden. And sort of, there's a life to wood, isn't there? So it's very ordinary, but it's, there's something quite pleasing about it, and it is a place I can store my clothes, and it's been provided for me, and it's been made by somebody. Yeah. And when I look around the room, I see all sorts of other things. There's a mask, for wearing in the pandemic, and someone's designed that, and it helps protect me. It helps keep my health and that of other people around me. And we can also see that as sort of a bit of a chore to have to put this thing on. And okay, it can get in the way sometimes, but it's also something that we can get relatively cheaply that's actually protecting us. And it's someone's put effort into making. Okay, maybe they've been paid, but nevertheless, they put effort and creativity into making it. There's a painting on the wall of my room done by an artist friend of mine who's an excellent watercolour artist. Most of the time I don't look at it. It's a really lovely painting. And it was a gift. There's also something, a little bit of I'm not sure if I really call it artwork, but something with colours that I did myself, and which has a meaning for me. And I wouldn't have done that if I hadn't been encouraged to express myself in that kind of way by some people. So other people give to us in so many ways, not just in terms of things. Sometimes, through their creativity, through their work, even that they're being paid for. Nevertheless, it brings something that's enriching into our lives. So gratitude enriches us. We notice what's the riches, if you like, that we have in our lives. And it also connects us with other people, the people who directly or indirectly have given to us. Might be people we've never met and never will, but they've made something that's come into our lives. The food on our plate that's been grown, efforts been made, been put into the growing of that food. And because of that effort, it's there. So it might not have been made as a gift exactly, but nevertheless, it's there because of people's effort. And things might have been different and that food might not be there. The wardrobe might not be there. The painting might not be there. The mask might not be there. There's a wisdom element to all this too. Maybe that's already apparent. It's so easy to sort of see things in terms of mine, my wardrobe, my painting, my laptop, whatever. And my creation, this painting I mentioned that I'd made. But actually, anything you might think of has come together through other people's contributions. Even as I said, the thing that I made myself, well, that was in part because other people encouraged me to. So much has gone into this class. It's not just me speaking. It's Liz and Vidyasaki who are helping make this happen. It's everyone who's brought this centre into being. It's everyone who's made all the technology that we're using. It's just so many conditions coming together. And this is a core Buddhist teaching. Everything arises in dependence on conditions. No time to go into that tonight, but that is perhaps the core Buddhist teaching. And if we're experiencing gratitude for the things of our lives, including the inner things like the skills, the understandings, and so on, well, that means we're recognizing some of the conditions that gave rise to them. It's not just mine. It's not just something fixed or something that I've created or something that's magically appeared. It's through the coming together of the efforts and creativity and goodwill, generosity often of many people. So we're going to meditate shortly. I'll just outline what we're going to do. So, because you'll need to sort of know, I think I will lead it. You don't remember all this, but it's good to have an outline of what we're going to do. So I will lead us in a body scan to get us started in a moment. And then we're going to go through a 4-stage gratitude practice. And unlike in the Metta Bhavana, we're not focusing on one person each stage, though you can do if you want to. There's sort of groups or types of relationship. So firstly, friends. So we can bring to mind, I will remind you of this, we can bring to mind things that we receive from friends. Could be material things, could be encouragement, could be time and love and attention, companionship, fun. Then we're going to bring to mind family. That can include our partner, not family, but that can include our partner. Good also to include your parents if that's not too difficult. Our parents at the very least have given us life, and often they've given us much more than that, even if it's been a very difficult relationship. Now, if that's too uncomfortable, difficult thing to do, then of course focus on other people, other family members, for example. But if that feels doable, well, bring your parents in and bring to mind some of what they've given you. So that's, friends, and then family, including parents and, if you like, your partner, if you have a partner. Then teachers and mentors. So anyone who's helped you to learn a skill or an understanding. That can also include people who, kind of encourage you, maybe in your career. It could be a boss who's been really helpful in some way, giving you an opportunity, a new job, anything like that. Teachers and mentors, let's say. And then the fourth stage is anyone else. Because after all, we owe so much in our lives to people who we've never met and never will, just because of the ordinary work that they've done, like growing food. The NHS, of course, is a big example there. So anyone else, and that can also, if you like, can include ourselves, because we do things that benefit ourselves, and it can be good to recognise that and be glad of that. Those are the stages we'll do. And I don't get too analytical with it. Sort of thing which you can just race off one person after another, so many people, so much, or going deep into all the many conditions of one item of clothing or whatever. The main thing is recollecting that things could be otherwise. Yeah, undoing that kind of taking for granted. That wardrobe might not have been there, or it might have been a sort of some cheap plastic thing. Yeah, so recollecting that things could be otherwise. We might not have, been able to go to university, for example, if we've done that. The conditions that made that possible. If you find yourself getting overwhelmed with positive feelings, just relax and be with that. Just be with how it feels right now, rather than perhaps adding more examples of what you've been given. So there could be a very moving experience in meditation. It might be something much simpler. It might be just a simple sense of gladness, and that's a positive quality too. Okay, so get ready for meditation. So I'll remind you of the stages, and I'll say a little bit as we go through, and I'll lead us in a body scan to begin with, and it will be about 25 minutes. So to begin with, as always, just settling into the body, settling into the sensation of your weight on your seat and on the ground. Just that simple sense of touch and the supportive pressure of your weight, feet and legs on the floor, bum on cushion or chair, or whatever's supporting you. Checking you're upright and also relaxed. Bringing awareness into the feet. Just tuning in to the experience in the feet. Just noticing any sensations there. Temperature, for example. The lower legs and the ankles. Noticing the touch of our clothes. The knees, both the fronts and the backs of the knees. The thighs. Big muscles of the thighs that don't need to work now. And if there's tension, we see if we can let it go. The buttocks again, the hips, the groin, just taking all that area in, just noticing how it feels. And then the back, the spine, the gently upright spine, still with its natural curve. All the sensations in the back, from the base of the spine, right the way up to the neck. The back of the neck, letting that be long, soft. And then the head, the face, letting the forehead be soft, the eyes, the jaw relaxed. Letting the shoulders drop down if they will. And bringing attention into the arms, all the way down into the hands, into the fingers. Just experiencing the sensitivity, the energy in the hands. Noticing the gut. Just experiencing how that feels right now. Seeing if it's possible to let the gut drop down, but being alright if it's not. And then bringing attention into the chest. Maybe noticing the rib cage moving. And especially the heart center, the center of the chest. Just noticing how that feels right now. And it doesn't have to feel any way in particular. May not feel like much at all. Just noticing that. And taking in how you are, your mood, the flavor of your mind emotionally. Sitting here in the body. And now we can move into the first stage of this meditation. Just starting to reflect on what we've been given by friends. Maybe choosing a few people, or there may be particular gifts that come immediately to mind. Objects or money we've been given, attention, time we've been given. Encouragement, support, company, whatever comes to mind. Just looking for any sense of gladness, gratitude. You can either stay with a particular friend, or you can bring a few people to mind. Or you can stay with a feeling of gratitude, of gladness, if it emerges. And now I invite you to bring to mind gifts from teachers, anyone, whether officially a teacher or not, who's taught you something that you value, that's affected your life for the better in some way, through learning, understanding, being given opportunities. Teachers or mentors of any kind. We're just recognizing that things could have been otherwise. Our life has been enriched in some way or benefited through a person's action. And we may find that metta naturally arises, in which case we can choose to stay with that if we wish. We can bring to mind some of the skills we've learned and ask ourselves, who has made that skill possible in me? And now we can bring to mind family. It can include a partner or partners of the past, and including our parents, unless that's too difficult at the moment. Bringing to mind whatever we've received, time, a roof over our head, simple things of being brought up, being alive. Just having a sense of it. We've been given to one way and another. And things could have been different without thinking too much about that. Checking you're still in touch with the body. Coming back to the body if that's been lost. Especially to the heart center. And now you can stay with anyone we particularly wish to stay with, or we can bring to mind others, anyone else, even imagining people we've never met, without whose actions our life would be less rich, less satisfying, less meaningful, less pleasant. can even appreciate things in the society in which we live, however much we may not be happy with. There will be things to appreciate. And now just dropping any reflection, staying with how we're actually feeling right now. And if there's a sense of metta, just being with that. Gladness, just being with that. Now letting go of any effort, bringing awareness to the body, just being present. And in a moment I'll ring the bell and you can gently bring the meditation to an end. Okay. So no doubt we've all had different experiences of that meditation, but I hope that everyone's found something to connect with in that. And we can do that kind of meditation either by itself or we can do it more briefly, just a part of it if you like, as a prelude to the Metta Bhavana, if that's helpful. And of course, it's something we can reflect on outside of meditation, as well as giving a more concerted attention to in meditation. So we've got a little bit of time, and there's time for questions. And it's also, if you would like, of course, please feel free to share anything that's particularly touched you, moved you, surprised you during the meditation, or in the practice of gratitude if you've been if you're on the course, Journey in the Guide course, and you've been reflecting on it during the week. Yeah, we'll give it a moment for anyone to put anything into that.
Well, we've got a question from Sam, but he does say it's a bit off topic. He's just slinging this in as a slight side one, but are nothingness and emptiness the same thing?
Ooh.
That's a nice simple one,
I would take nothingness and emptiness the same thing. That is rather off topic. We would normally say no thingness, wouldn't we, Liz? Yeah. That there aren't things as such. Well, the simple answer is more or less, I think, in as far as I can speak with any authority on that topic, because they're both very profound and very closely related concepts. Yeah. I don't think we can go any more into that tonight, but I think the word emptiness has got can be used in a broader range of ways, but in essence, the most important one is that. And that will probably leave lots of questions hanging for other people, but it is, just definitely no thingness rather than nothingness. Yeah. Anything else?
Well, Alison's just responding, saying, doesn't emptiness have more negative connotations?
Than no thingness. Well, yes, it probably does, doesn't it? But that's, emptiness. Oh gosh, and this is next week's topic, isn't it, really? Vijayasaki. I don't want to spend too long on this because I imagine there will be more on the subject of gratitude. But emptiness meaning the impossibility of pinning anything down. And it's sometimes just called the open dimension of our experience. In a way, it does connect a bit to gratitude. We think about I don't know, this class, we have the idea of meditation class or shrine. Well, let's take the shrine here behind me. And that's a concept, isn't it? Shrine. But actually, my goodness, what's going on here? There's 4 candles which are all burning. There's a whole process going on there. There's all these flowers which have been arranged by Liz. Yeah, by Liz. There's this Buddha figure that's been made. I forget by who, etc., etc., etc. So all of that has come into existence, and some of it, well, actually, all of it ultimately is changing. So yeah. Anything else?
We've got comments from Lizzie and Adele. Lizzie says it was a lovely, heartwarming practice. I enjoyed it very much. Did you say it could be a warm-up for the Metta Bhavana?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, you could do. Obviously, it's always good to start with the body, but then you could spend. Well, it's up to you, really. 2 minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, depends on how long your meditation is. Reflecting on gratitude. Yeah, you could pick your friend, for example, or go through a few different people, and then when you've got somewhere with that, then you could go through the stages of the Metabhavana. Yeah. Or you could do it a little bit at the beginning of each stage. Gratitude for a difficult person is challenging but good practice. There's usually something.
Yeah, Adele said that she brought her mother to mind, and it was tough at the start, but she managed to find some gratitude towards her.
Well done, Adele. That could be really worthwhile when the relationship's not straightforward. Well done, because we can't help but carry our parents with us, I think, unless we're adopted at birth, perhaps. That relationship remains significant even if it's really difficult. So well done.
Chris is saying that he's finding gratitude a very good antidote to frustrations, which is, like you explained, which is very helpful. So, for example, when work is stressful, the temptation is to think about the bad rather than the good things.
Yeah, no, well said, Chris. Exactly. Yeah, it's just a really wholesome state, and as I say, it's really ordinary. But when you really go into it, explore it, and practice it, actually, it's extremely worthwhile. Because it's not about us, is it? And all of our negativity, frustration, stress, irritability, anxiety, is actually all about us. Gratitude actually isn't about us. Yeah, another angle.
Angela's put a comment that's made me go a bit teary because it's so lovely. She said, "I've been reminded of what a lovely life I have."
Well said. Yeah. Those may not be words that will resonate for everyone, but yeah, I can certainly feel that when I give a little effort to this. Yeah.
And Miriam says, gratitude practice cultivates my own giving, which has been lovely. What seems simple is quite expansive and has so many consequences.
Could you repeat that, Liz? There's quite a bit in that.
So gratitude practice cultivates my own giving, which has been lovely. What seems simple is quite expansive and has so many consequences.
Yeah. It is an expansive quality. Absolutely. That's a really good point, actually, Miriam. That when we experience gratitude, we're more moved to give, whether it's to the person we receive from or somebody else. It opens our heart up in that way, and that is actually, it's assuming we're got some awareness of our means and so on. That is actually a positive thing as well. That expression of generosity will also have a positive effect on us and on somebody else, probably. Yeah. Yes, it is really is a very enriching practice quality. Yeah.
Alison said about the practice, the practice being great and the benefit of thinking of others. It's not necessarily core to her life. Sorry, the chat's moving too fast. But says about her tennis coaching sessions and that being crucial to her well-being. So not something you necessarily think of, but really reflecting on that.
Yeah, it's amazing just the really real significance of people who we've forgotten about, years and years ago. And think, oh golly, yeah, that person really made a difference. Yeah.
And Jules has said that it's a lovely celebration of a really great day, and very timely that she struggled with the last 2 weeks with meditating, and tonight has helped turn her around.
That's great to hear, Jules. Thanks for sharing that.
So she said it's a wonderful evening and fills me with great joy.
That's really lovely to hear. Thank you.
And Fiona is surprised by how many teachers came to mind and feels she spent so much time learning, you forget to be grateful.
It's not something one thinks about. Well, it depends on it's adult learning, I guess you mean. Yeah.
And Christine says, I found myself thanking myself for making time for this.
Well said. Yeah. I think it's a really valuable thing, especially if we're the sort of person who criticises ourselves a lot. I'm not saying you are, but if we are, and I am or have been, then it's great. Well, actually, we all do things for ourselves, and in well-intentioned things that, for ourselves. And yeah, coming to this class is almost certainly an example of that. So we can be grateful to ourselves for things, and that is valuable. Yeah. Anything else, Bernie? No. Thank you all for those contributions. Yeah, it's great to hear from many of you in connection with this. I will just a few words on. Yeah, if you look on after we finish, if you go to Wikipedia and look up gratitude, you'll read a bit about the studies and how things that have the greatest short-term effect were writing a letter of gratitude to somebody and then delivering it by hand, which is probably something that we can't do now, but even better than to deliver it by hand and actually sort of thank them verbally as well. That apparently had a very strong short-term effect on people for the better. But the biggest long-term effect was actually a daily writing down of I'm not sure if it's 3 or 5 things. I'm not sure the exact number matters really. But yeah, writing down a few things that you're grateful for during the day. And those could be things that happened during the day, or they could be things that are ongoing. It can even be simple like having running water. So just turning our mind to appreciation and what we feel grateful for in our lives. And apparently it can have a really big effect on people's well-being, especially when it's continued for a while. And on many studies, people started doing this, just did it for a week, and appreciated it so much they carried on longer term. So yeah, it's a practice I'd really recommend, though I'm patchy with it, to be honest. Hopefully to some extent it's become natural, but yeah. Okay, a couple of quick announcements. So on Tuesday of next week, we have a new course starting. For anyone who's not on Journaling the Guide, you might be interested in that. So this is called A Creative Response to Uncertain Times. It's a 5-week online, of course. I think Liz is posting a link. So this is an introduction to Buddhism meditation with an orientation towards our current times. It's being led by Otter Siddhi, who many of you will know from these classes, and Amrita Vani, who you may not know, but who's also a very good speaker, leader. So that's next Tuesday, and you need to book, although it's without charge and online. Next Thursday is the next episode in our current series on the way to full potential, and Vidyasaki will be leading next Thursday, and the title is Meeting Reality. How's that for an opportunity? Meeting reality, that's what we're going to be looking at next week. Lastly, of course, 2 things. Do please subscribe to our YouTube channel if you'd like to. That does help us generate more interest in these classes and everything that we put on YouTube. And of course, if you're able to, if you'd like to, please do give. Please do give, especially if you can give regularly to the centre. That's really, really helpful. So yeah, if you feel moved to give to our centre and help us do what we do, then please do give. And again, there'll be a link in the chat. And I seem to have finished a minute early. Thank you all very much for coming. And actually, I really do mean that. It can be something we just sort of say routinely. I think we probably always mean it, but I really do mean it tonight. So I really value the opportunity to share this with you. And giving and receiving cannot be cleanly separated, I think, actually. So I feel given to as well. Good night all.